How is it going, folks? Welcome back to Union Berlin and welcome to episode number 16. Last episode, we took on Juventus. If you missed that episode, you should probably go watch it. Since then, we played a couple of games in the league. They've not gone to plan. We've had our youth intake, international break, and today we are heading to Florence to play Fiorentina, another Italian team, this time in the Europa League quarter-finals. Now, I want to sit here and pretend our youth intake was absolutely amazing. That would be a smidge disingenuous. It's not been great, but our pick of the bunch this year is Commie. This man's the pick of the bunch. Yeah, it says it's a good it's just not a good intake. It's just not true what it says there. The player with perhaps the most potential is a confused individual who can play right mid, centre mid, and centre back. Yeah, I don't understand the position kind of combination either. And when I look at him, I'm finding it difficult to get excited about Sonny. Anyway, that's all you're going to get in terms of a review of the youth intake. It's not been good. Before we run the intro today, just one other little bit of news. Eric Martel, 2 caps for the German national team. That makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Suddenly, for the price of £11 million with 2 German international caps, I'm beginning to think he was already worth the money. I might be getting carried away prematurely. We're back in European action today. A European away day awaits. Let's run the intro and get straight into things. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, things haven't exactly gone to plan since you were last here. 2 games played, one before an international break. It was this game against Augsburg. We knew we were going to be without Lucas Nemecha for this game. Tillman started the game up top. He got a goal, and yet we still managed to lose, which, you know what, you lose games occasionally, but to lose at home to Augsburg, who are literally bottom of the league, that was annoying. I will also point out, they are still bottom of the league. They've won 4 games all year, they've won against us. Did they draw against us as well, or did we beat them earlier in the year? Still annoyed by it, though. Elsewhere, you might have spotted it, 5 games left of the season. Leipzig have already been crowned champions. They are just chilling at the top of the league. They've had a ridiculous season where Dani Olmo and Benjamin Sesko have just absolutely popped off for them. Now, the only other game we've played since last episode is this one against Bayern Munich. Normally, I'd be really happy with an away draw against Bayern. The circumstances of this result make it slightly less pleasing. Now, to be fair to us, we did only have 2 shots on target in this game, but both of them ended up in the back of the net. This one here by Felix Nemecha, a really, really good goal. Later on in the half, his brother scored from the penalty spot, something he didn't do against Juventus, but 2-0 up. Playing not particularly well. I was hoping we'd be able to hold on. Spoilers, we didn't hold on. De Ligt scored for them, and then Callum Hudson-Odoi scored. Yeah, Callum Hudson-Odoi in this universe plays for Bayern Munich. He broke through, scored from a tight angle. 2-2 is not really a bad result, all things considering, against the team who are kind of above us in the league. That said, it does feel like points dropped. Now, good news for us is, despite not winning in our last 2 league games, we are still in 4th place. Freiburg trail us by 1 point, but we do have a game in hand over them. One thing really to note here is, on the last day of the season, we play Freiburg away from home. That could end up being a monumentous game for our season. That said, that match is a little way away because we are still in just about every single competition. Of course, the DFB Pokal semi-final, Hertha Berlin await us in an episode or 2's time. It largely depends on what we do today. Europa League, we are taking on Fiorentina. If we win this game, we play the winner of Bayern Munich v Tottenham, which, I'm going to be honest, that's a pretty horrific draw for us. And, well, when it comes to the league, yes, there's not many games left of the season. Our kind of position in 4th is not exactly locked in yet. We've got a lot of fronts to compete on to end this season. And while that competing begins today against Fiorentina, in terms of team news, one major injury to be aware of. Tom Kraus, Tommy Boy here, is currently injured for up to 3 weeks. He has actually just played for the German national team as well. So, yeah, we are having a few players now break into the national team, which is really, really cool to see. Obviously, Kraus and Martel, the 2 players who are hidden behind my face. I'll reverse the order so we can see them up here, loud and proud. Obviously, Kraus today, a bit of a miss for us. Hopefully, we'll be able to fill in without him. It does mean that for this end of season run-in, Thorsby, Captain Fantastic, is going to be rather important for us. Elsewhere, with the injury to Kraus, another player who's going to have a very big role to play in this end of season run is going to be Wiedreago. He is playing alongside Felix Nemecha. Elsewhere in the team, Zach Hyen and Scott start in the wide areas. Zach Hyen's form is the same patchy form it's been all year. He either plays amazing or he doesn't really show up. I am slightly concerned by his performances in training. He's not had the craziest first season, if we're being honest, but I say that. He's got 10 assists in 25 games and 6 goals. He's doing well. I just feel like he hasn't excited me every single game. I was hoping he'd be more consistent, I suppose, is the issue. Mentioned Alex Scott out on the right side. He is continuing to develop nicely. Of course, he signed that new deal in January. He is proving to be worth the money thus far, and a big player for today's game, and indeed for this end of season run-in, is going to be Lucas Nmecha. This man has single-handedly, I feel like, propelled our season up a level. I thought maybe we'd scrape into the Europa League. We're dreaming of the Champions League. We're continuing to dream of it. He's got 7 goals in 7 in the league. His form in the Europa League against Juventus wasn't so good. He's yet to score in this competition. Hopefully he can change that today. When it comes to our opposition in Fiorentina, they are currently struggling in Serie A, down in 8th place. Their key man to be aware of is Milenkovic, the Serbian centre-back. He is an absolute monster at the back, a set-piece threat as well that we've got to be aware of. The other man we've got to be aware of is Fiorentina's top goal scorer in Arthur Cabral. I don't know why I'm saying it like he's French. It's Arthur Cabral, unless it is Arta. I don't speak Brazilian Portuguese. I don't know. I digress. He is a forward with some good ability in the area, not the quickest, but he has got 14 goals in the league, so we have to show him a bit of respect. I do feel like this is a slightly easier game than the one against Juventus. The fact the first leg is at home as well means that I do have higher expectations going into this first game of the fixture. Once we win in this game on the night, that said, we can't afford to underestimate this Fiorentina side. They have some quality. Opening 20 minutes of this game, not been too exciting. We've had 62% of the ball, but without creating enough. There might, however, be a chance here. Scott to Da Costa. Forsby links it up to Zach Hine, who chests it down superbly. Just couldn't quite get a shot away in the end, but we do still have the ball in a dangerous area. Roussillon in the wide area, whips it back post, headed away, but Da Costa, the right back, who's been a very good player for us this year, very reliable, he's going to keep it alive. Scott back to Forsby. We go. Pulls the trigger from range, and I'll tell you what, he does have that kind of shot in his locker. On this occasion, it's flown over. We're already approaching half-time. There's been 1 shot on target so far in this game. It's not been a classic. It's kind of reminded me of the Juventus game at home. For whatever reason, in our home games, but we just don't play particularly entertaining football. We just kind of defend solidly, but maybe don't create enough. But perhaps that can change here. Again, it's Forsby going for one of these big balls forward. He's kind of the Tom Brady of our team, it feels like, at the moment. Not only is he one of the more senior players, but he's pinging these balls from deep. On this occasion, though, he didn't find the target. And now Fiorentina, well, I was going to say, maybe have a chance to bring it forward. We managed to wrestle the ball away from them. Zach Hyens caught in possession, though. Gonzalez now trying to bring it forward on this near side yet again. It feels like a feisty affair so far as Dodo dinks it forward to Gonzalez. He pulls it back to Cabral. Hadel gets half a hand to it. I put him under the microscope pre-game. Knew he was going to be a threat. It's annoying to see him score. I did wonder for a moment here as this dinked ball was playing to Gonzalez if he was offside, but no, he was definitely on. That ball pulled back was very intelligent. Will Hadel feel like he could have done better? He got a hand to it, but it has gone in off the post, and sadly for us, with Fiorentina's first shot on target of the game, only their second shot of the half, they take what I'm going to say is an undeserved lead, but ultimately we've not done enough to be leading in this game here. Going to tell the players I'm not happy. Going to tell them I've got faith in them. We have to step it up in the second half. We need to come away with at least a draw. I know the away leg's going to be difficult. Bigged up Martel pre-game. He's on a booking. He's done nothing so far in this game, and we're already an hour into this fixture. I feel like I've got to change things up a little bit. I'm going to get rid of the work the ball into the box instruction. Want us to just try and be, I suppose, a little bit more forthright with how we get the ball forward. I am going to change things up, I think. I'm going to take off Zach Hyen. I'm going to bring in Ngankam. Lucas Nmecha has not played well either, so I'm going to actually bring in Malik Tillman here. Roussillon at left-back's been disappointing. You can kind of see from our bench options, there's not a load of attacking options that we have available, but I'm going to flex the few that we have here and hope that's maybe enough combined with the instructional changes to just create a little bit more. There is 20 minutes left in this game. I want to see us get at least a highlight or two. My grandma used to tell me doesn't get, and well, it might not get us anything here. And Ngankam has now got an injury. That is particularly bad. In terms of how we're now going to change things up, Wiedrego is going to have to go out onto the left-hand side and play as an inside forward. It's a role that he can play to a okay-ish level. It's definitely not his best role. We're then going to have Florian Flick come in and play the box-to-box midfielder role for us. But that injury there is somewhat concerning because obviously Ngankam is rather injury-prone. But also, if he's out for the second leg, I might only have one attacking player on the bench. And well, if we were to end this game a goal down, those attacking options on the bench could be rather valuable. That said, maybe there's one last chance here where Drago in the wide area. There is 2.5 minutes left to be played here. He's sliding in the wide area. He's tried to thread through Tillman there. Sadly, he couldn't quite find his intended target. Of course, if Fiorentina were to get a second goal, it'd be such a bitter blow. We are committing men slightly higher up the pitch here. With us looking to pass the ball into space, we are going to be potentially sacrificing a bit of the possession we love to command. But with Flick on the pitch, he's won the ball nicely. Drago's all on his lonesome. He is very isolated here. He might have to go all on his own. There's players queuing up in the box, though. Can he make something happen here? The answer is no. I don't know what's just happened. He's just forgotten the ball existed, but we do still have it. Flick, Nemetcha, Alex Scott, Tillman's offside. He's offside. Don't celebrate it. Scott could have been selfish. He could have scored it. There's a free kick being taken. We've not been shown the replay. The game's just decided that I'm not allowed to see it. And I don't know if that means that that's the last highlight of the half. I mean, if they now go up the other end and score, it's going to be an absolute sucker punch of a last minute to this game, isn't it? Flick, Drago. Part of me wants to believe there's another highlight here for us with a minute left because we didn't see a replay of the disallowed goal. I also know Football Manager can just be weird and buggy towards the end of games when it comes to disallowed goals, and there might just be nothing happening. That said, Fiorentina find themselves in our penalty area. I'm not enjoying this. I don't want to see this. Can we get it away from danger in some ways now? Holding on to the 1-0 might be all that we can really settle for. They're penning us back. There's 15 seconds left. I'm not enjoying this one little bit. Ball's in the wide area, knocked inside. Options queuing up in the middle. Da Costa puts in a big tackle. And I think with that tackle there, this game is done. Here was the disallowed goal. It was the final real chance of the game. Scott could have taken it on his own. If he had a bit more intelligence, maybe he would have just held on to it. As it stands, though, that is a bitterly, bitterly disappointing game. You look at the XG story, you can see here, Fiorentina basically had 2 golden opportunities. They scored one of them. Besides that, they created very little, but I can't really complain. We didn't create enough ourselves. We were really poor in this game. We leave ourselves with a mountain to climb. The only thing I'm really going to take as a crumb of comfort here is we did beat Juventus in the away leg, but yeah, this is going to be difficult. And Gankam is out now for 4 to 5 weeks, so that is pretty much his season over as well. That's certainly less than ideal. And it does mean that with that Fiorentina game only a week away, unsurprisingly, he's not going to be available for selection. Now, we have got a midweek game. It's against Heidenheim. They are down in the drop zone in terms of the relegation playoffs. We should be beating them easily, given our recent form. Maybe it's not guaranteed, but I'm not going to panic about that game. Instead, we're going to mentally reset. Fiorentina await a second leg, a mountain to climb. Let's go on an expedition and see if we can turn things around. So ahead of our away day at Fiorentina, probably should recap the one game played off camera against Heidenheim. 2-0 result here. The result looks convincing. The performance was kind of anything but. In the first half, it was very, very even. In fact, you could even argue that they had the edge until we scored from the penalty spot. As the game went on, though, we did kind of come into our own. You can see Nemetcha with a goal, Tillman with a goal. Drago with an assist. A really good defensive display, including a little bit of rotation defensively. Yeah, we are having to manage minutes. So, good to get a result, albeit against the team in 16th. With that result, we cement our position back in 4th in the league. Still that game in hand over Freiburg, who unfortunately have already won the game that they had in hand before we played our game. Anyway, with that little recap of what you've missed, not a great deal going on, it's time to head to Florence. Fiorentina, I don't know a lot about Fiorentina Stadium. The Stadio Artemio Franchi. I definitely said that incorrect, but it sounded a bit Italian in my head. The picture has me intrigued. No roof, weird patch behind the goal. I hope there's not a running track. Let's go find out together. So for the second time in as many episodes, we're heading down to Italy, but this time slightly further south to the city of Florence, where I'm hoping, if I just switch to the satellite view, there's going to be a big sea of purple seats somewhere to spot. I mean, I assume the stadium is purple, and maybe I'm assuming wrong. Also, what is this layout? There's not a running track where there's just loads of grass behind the goals. I've got questions. I mean, there's a running track next to the stadium, so why this stadium also needs to be so oval, I'm not entirely sure. Loads of pitches around. For the first time ever in an away day, there's a baseball pitch. Can we go have a look at the baseball pitch? Well, this dot is where the baseball pitch is, but I'm not an expert, never played the sport myself. don't think this is a suitable arena for baseball. Have spotted the car parking. I don't want to compare it to Juventus because that's a pretty unfair comparison. It's not as good as Juventus's car park. I mean, it's inoffensive. It's quite basic. From the outside, the stadium... I don't want to say she's not a looker, and I really shouldn't be comparing it to Juventus, but I feel like this could impact the scoring. I mean, that is the stadium there. I'm not sure what to say. I've come round to the main entrance to the stadium, which is very, very grand, but it doesn't really scream football stadium, does it, really? I mean, the floodlights are the only thing that really give away that football is played the other side of this gated institution. I'm going around the whole edge of the stadium here. I assume this is a really old ground, just from the general aesthetic. I mean, very satisfying spiral staircase, but besides that, I'm running out of positive things to say about the stadium from the outside. Also, is that an observation tower connected to the stadium? What is going on here in Florence? Okay, there are dots inside the stadium. First things first, touchline view. Here is AFC Fiorentina. I can't work out, is this an observation deck or is it just where the cameraman is based for filming match days? Because the stadium doesn't seem that big, so maybe there is just a bloke up there with a camera on match days. I know what you're thinking, Jack. You complain about symmetrical football stadiums all the time, and then you get a non-symmetrical one, and all you do is complain. This stadium, I mean, it's bizarre. I assume this isn't a match day. I tell you, if there's a football match about to be played, it's not fit for purpose. It's the least football stadium-like football stadium I've ever been to. Wait, the train... Is the dugout but underground there? Is this part of the stadium tour? Do the players come out of a tunnel? I'll be honest, this is too much for me. There's so few pictures of the stadium on match days, I've instead decided to work out what the Torre di Maratona is. Can we just translate this to English? It's the Marathon Tower. I want to find out more information. Lovely. Finding out more about this stadium. It was designed by engineer Pierluigi Nervi in the late 1920s. And it had propaganda intentions for the fascist period. Okay, I don't know how to move on from here. Came for the away day, leaving, discovering that the stadium is fascist propaganda. Yeah, this stadium, there was no pictures on the inside either. Disappointing all round. 4 out of 10. I'll let you decide if that is an overly harsh review, but... yeah, it just wasn't very good. Well, I suppose that would be an apt description of our first leg performance. It just wasn't very good. We've got to play better in this leg. Of course, we have got Ngankam injured for the rest of the season, pretty much. Kraus, you can see here, is injured. Not fit enough to play, but since we have spots on the bench, we might as well just give him a spot on the bench. He can pretend that he's available. You know, we can play the mind games where you have an injured player on the bench for intimidation value. In the box-to-box midfielder position for this game, I'm actually going to go with Flick, who is a bit more defensively minded. I think as an away side, that could suit us. What it does mean is that Wiedreago is going to start on the bench. That said, he's been deployed in this role before, a player we bring on against tiring defences, and he can make stuff happen. And with Ngankam out injured, really, Wiedreago and Tillman are the two attacking options we have on the bench. Which, I mean, I'll be honest, I kind of wish we had a few more attacking options, but beggars can't be choosers. Right, away from home, we need a massive display. Cabral, the lone goal scorer last game, starts for them up top. Elsewhere, Castrovilli, very, very good centre mid. Gonzalez out on the right-hand side, we need to be wary of. As for our team, I feel like it's full of slightly less household names. We were plucky underdogs against Juventus and got a result. In this game here, I'd argue we're less of an underdog, and yet it feels like it's a taller task to deal with going into this second leg. We need to turn things around. We're away from home. Maybe, just maybe, you know, Fiorentina, feeling at home, feeling a bit confident. They're going to play the ball with a bit more aggression forward, maybe leave themselves more exposed at the back. And that's going to open up opportunities for us. That's what I'm going to hope happens here. And when an early goal could set us on our way. It's Nemecha to Nemecha. Lucas Nemecha scores his first goal in the Europa League. It's taken less than 7 minutes to draw this game level. In my head, it started as a bit of an in-joke. You know, it'd be funny to have the two Nemecha brothers. No, they're actually playing really, really well together. It's Felix to Lucas. He tucks it away. Confident finish by him. And, I mean, what a signing he has been in January. Let's be honest. It was a bold signing. We basically spent all the money that was in the bank account. It was a bit of a gamble. If we get top four football this year, it will be entirely down to him, I feel like. And, well, having got one goal, we've now got a set piece here. Zach Hyen, back post Forsby. on the pitch, probably our best player in the air, heads it just wide. Dodo on the far side. I thought he was endangered, but well, I thought he was extinct. Maybe he's just endangered. He's on the pitch on the far side. Castrovilli cut it inside. Big tackle by Flick. Lucas Nemecha, all on his lonesome. Needs to do a bit of hold-up play here, the lone forward. And, well, he needed to do it. He couldn't do it. Forsby, though, wins the ball well. And now we recycle possession through the middle and look to build from the back. Roussillon to Nemecha, to Forsby, to Zakhayan, to Flick, to Nemecha. Lovely build-up play. Is there some end product? That shot, I think, just deflected in. I'm not going to complain. We've turned around this game already. The passing here was superb. The finish was very, very fortuitous. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. It's deflected into the back of the net. Nemecha hit it, looped over the keeper. I don't care how it's got in, though. We're 2-1 up. There's loads of football left to be played here. We cannot get too settled and happy and complacent. You've got to imagine Fiorentina are going to bring the ball forward, and while they have a set piece here that's been headed away to Igor, he pulls the trigger from range. It's deflected off a Fiorentina player and over the bar. Going to get a little bit shouty at the players, get some encouragement going, and well, maybe having shouted at them, we're going to get an instant response. Long throw into the box, Arian B, back to Da Costa, Forsby now with it. He gets caught in the ball, and when your defensive mid gets caught, you're in trouble. Cabral played onside by virtue of the fact he was in his own half. We've been let off the hook there. He shoots it wide of the post, and that probably should have been 2-2 on aggregate. It's a massive chance missed. It's the last chance of the half, and it means at the break, we go in 2 goals up. I'm going to tell the players to remain focused. Nemecha's upset. When is he not upset? We'll fix that with a little team talk to him. Now he's confident, and I think I'm confident in the players to see this out. Really hoping that's not going to be misplaced. Strefeza with the ball. He's whipping it into the back post. Cabral is there. It's gone off Mandragora. I feel like he used to be really good in Football Manager. Was he the guy who used to play for Juve? Someone will let me know in the comments. It's 2-2 here. And, well, they'd had a few set pieces, a few half chances. This one here, I mean, did Mandragora know what he was doing? I think he did, to be fair. Cabral with the header across. Ball's in the back of the net. It's all square. Half an hour to play as the away side. And when you look at the total shots in this game, it'd be safe to say that we probably don't deserve to be 2-1 up. And with a free kick at the edge of the box, we might need a big save. It's not going to come. Strefeza got a secondary assist for their first goal on the night. He's now scored a direct free kick. And, I mean, to be fair, it was a really, really good free kick that now puts us on the back foot. Hadel dived across, couldn't get there. We were 2-0 up. We were cruising, and now look at us. Right, we have to change things up. Tillman is going to come in and play as an inside forward. Elsewhere, I'm going to make a change. Forsby's going to come off. Flick's going to drop back to defensive midfielder, which is a role he can definitely play. We Drea go. I'm hoping he's going to have a good little bit of impact for us through the middle. And, yeah, Tillman's going to come in and play as that left inside forward. Zakhayan's been really, really poor today. Just wondering if I want to make any further changes. Roussillon a booking is not exactly ideal. So I think we'll bring in Addons with our final... Well, I was going to say our final change. No, we get 5 subs here. So we have got 2 more changes, but... What are we doing? We've given away a corner from absolutely nowhere. Please don't show a highlight from this or I'm going to be livid. Okay, I don't know what the ball was there that went out for a corner, but we're going to be let off the hook. That said, we are running out of time in this game to make something happen. We've got to get the ball forward a little bit quicker. Let's distribute it to flanks, out of possession. It's time to press. It's time to play a much higher defensive line. We need to up the tempo, get shouty, get demanding more. There's 10 minutes for us to create something here. And I'm fearful, as this game just fizzles out, that we're not going to create anything. But there might be a chance here. Felix Nemecha plays it forward. It's cleared away to Brekalo. The Croatian international is going to bring it away on the far side. There are options queuing up behind him. Akone is one of them. Jonathan Akone holds up the play nicely. Fiorentina now, they can just play the clock. There is no pressure on them to get the ball forward. We are chasing shadows. We have won the ball there. We go with a massive tackle. And now, Lucas Nemecha has been played in behind. That ball was superb. He chips the keeper. The woodwork denies us. And that right there, that might have been the chance to take this game to extra time. There's 5 minutes of added time. Is anything going to happen? The answer is no. And I'll tell you what, we probably didn't deserve it on the balance of play. But to hit the woodwork there... sucks. And to be frank, it hurts. I really felt like, having beaten Juventus, we had an okay chance in this competition. Granted, we would have been playing Tottenham or Bayern Munich in the next round, which maybe would have been a slightly taller order than this game here. But to lose in that manner is disappointing. I actually don't feel like our second leg performance was bad, but in the first leg, you know, we lost at home. We were always on the back foot there, but we did turn things around. Just couldn't hold on to things. And to inflict insult to injury, Danny DaCosta's now out for up to 2 weeks, which means he's probably going to miss the game next episode against Hertha Berlin. Looking for a silver lining, Lucas Nemecha got 2 more goals to add to his collection. So that's good. I mean, it's not a consolation one little bit, but I can pretend it's good. So with us out of the Europa League now, we can shift full focus onto the Bundesliga, where as things stand, we are in 4th place. There is 5 games left of the season. The last game of the year is against Freiburg, who are directly behind us. And in the DFB Pokal, we are taking on Hertha Berlin, who they themselves are only 4 points behind us. And of course, they are our local rivals. Now, looking at upcoming schedule, that game against Hertha Berlin is going to be midweek. We also have an away game against Wolfsburg in 3rd a few days later. And whilst I'm very much aware of the fact we've played Wolfsburg a lot in episodes, that does feel like a rather significant game, not just because they're in 3rd, but also because it is Lucas Nemecha's former club. And is there a chance we can catch Wolfsburg? Maybe. I mean, if we were to beat Wolfsburg and win our game in hand, we'd only be 1 point behind them. And as I've talked about before in the Bundesliga, the prize money is rather significant, more so for finishing in the top 4 than anything else, but I would like to finish above them. I am also thinking that this home game against Hertha Berlin is the right moment to do the home away day. We've still not done our away day of our own stadium, the Stadion an der Alten Forstieri. I've definitely said that incorrectly, but it sounded good. To me, at least. I mean, I'm an educated as hell. It sounded good to me. But yeah, I think we'll do the away day, or home day, with that Hertha Berlin game. It's a Berlin derby in a cup semi-final. If there's a special occasion to do the away day at home for, this is it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm not disappointed. Frankly, I'm absolutely gutted to go out against Fiorentina, but you know what? Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. I feel like to win the Europa League would have been a tall order. What this does now mean is we can shift our focus into 2 more winnable competitions. Bayern Munich aren't in the DFB Pokal. If we beat Hertha Berlin, Cologne or Augsburg await, I'd like to think we could get the better of either of those. And as for the league, as you've already seen, top 4 is a lot more prize money. It's Champions League football. That's where we want to be. And well, that's what we will be returning to next time. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Tomorrow, more action from Union Berlin. Come back, same time and place as always, midday. If you've enjoyed the video, leave a like. And until next time, it's me, Jack. I'll see you all on the next one. Hopefully it goes better than that result we've just seen there.